All right, get ready, folks, because today we are taking a deep dive into, well, a world of magic and secrets and maybe even a little controversy, right? We're going to uncover the unexpected history of, you guessed it, Walt Disney World.
A place where dreams come true.
That's right, a place where dreams come true. We've got historical accounts, some in-depth reports, even some fun facts about your favorite Disney characters. Should be a wild ride.
You know, it's funny. We think of Disney World as this timeless place,
Yeah.
right? But it's a constantly evolving story, really is. One that's intertwined with American history and culture and even politics.
I am intrigued already. So where do we begin this journey?
Well, let's rewind way, way back to the 1950s. Walt Disney, he had already created Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
Out in California.
Yeah.
But he realized something pretty important, I think. Most of his visitors, they were coming from the West Coast.
Right, makes sense.
And a whopping 75% of the U.S. population actually lived east of the Mississippi at that time.
So he saw like a massive, just untapped market of people just waiting for some Disney magic.
Exactly. And that's what sparked the idea for a second park, even grander,
Right.
one that would be more accessible to the entire country.
Okay, so the hunt was on then for the perfect location, right?
Absolutely. And in 1963, Walt, he set his sights on this seemingly ordinary spot, near Bay Lake, Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
Little did anyone know this kind of swampy piece of land would become, well, the most magical place on Earth.
It's kind of funny to think about it starting as a swamp.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And this is where the story gets a little sneaky, right? I've heard something about like dummy corporations being used.
Oh, it's true. To avoid, driving up the land prices and tipping off the public, Disney used these fake companies with names like, Latin American Development and Management Corporation to quietly buy up a massive 27,443 acres.
Wow. That's some serious, like, undercover work going on there. Imagine the shock when everybody found out what was really happening, right?
Oh, you can bet there were some raised eyebrows. It all came to light in 1965. When the Orlando Sentinel, they broke the story, and suddenly this quiet land grab, it became, well, front page news.
It's amazing to think that Disney World started with so much secrecy.
And it's a testament to Walt Disney's, his vision and his determination.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he wanted, and he was willing to go to great lengths to make it happen.
Yeah, he was a driven guy. Sadly, tragedy struck just a year later, right?
Yes, 1966, Walt Disney passed away. Before construction even began, it was a devastating loss. But his brother Roy, he stepped in to ensure his vision lived on. He even postponed his own retirement to oversee the project, just driven by a deep commitment to fulfilling his brother's dream.
That must have been an incredibly emotional time for everybody involved.
Yeah. Absolutely. Roy emphasized the importance of EPCU, which was initially envisioned as this experimental city of the future.
Okay.
Like a showcase for innovation and technology. It was a very different concept from the EPCOT theme park we know today.
Interesting. So I'm already getting a sense of how much Disney World's evolution has been shaped by both, like grand visions and unexpected twists of fate.
Exactly. And even though Walt wasn't there to see it through, you can feel his presence throughout the entire park.
Yeah, you really can. So finally, in 1971, the Magic Kingdom opened its gates.
Can you imagine paying just $3.50 for an adult ticket? That's what it cost back then.
Wow. Talk about a bargain. That's less than a tenth of the price today.
Incredible to think how much the park has grown and changed since those early days.
Yeah.
Roy dedicated the entire complex to his brother's memory and sadly passed away just a few months later.
Wow. It's a testament to the power of family and the determination to see a dream realized, even in the face of loss.
So the Magic Kingdom was just the beginning, right? What came next?
Well, the dream kept expanding. In 1982, EPCOT opened, but it wasn't quite the futuristic city Walt had envisioned. You know? It evolved into a theme park celebrating technology and global cultures, featuring iconic landmarks like Spaceship Earth and the World Showcase.
Yeah. It's still a fascinating concept, though, right? Blending education and entertainment.
Absolutely.
And then in 1989, the world of movies came to life with the opening of Disney MGM Studios, later renamed Hollywood Studios.
Right. And let's not forget Animal Kingdom, which opened in 1998 with with a focus on conservation and the wonders of the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
By this point, Disney World had become this sprawling complex with 4 major theme parks, hotels, golf courses, so much more. So this rapid expansion must have come with its share of challenges, right? I know there was some environmental concerns surrounding Disney World's growth.
You're right. In the 1990s, Disney faced increasing criticism from environmentalists, concerned about the impact of development on the Florida ecosystem.
Yeah.
And it's important to note that these concerns were valid, considering the scale of Disney's operations.
So how did Disney respond to this growing pressure?
Well, they took some significant steps to address these concerns. One key move was the purchase of a massive 8,500-acre tract of land in 1993.
Wow.
This land became the Disney Wilderness Preserve, a dedicated space for conservation and wildlife protection.
That's a pretty big commitment. Sounds like they were trying to strike a balance between expansion and environmental responsibility.
Exactly. It was a recognition that their actions had consequences and that they needed to take steps to mitigate their impact on the surrounding environment.
This is already so much more than just a fairy tale. Who knew the history of Disney World was so complex and layered?
That's the beauty of digging deeper, right?
Yeah.
We uncover the challenges, the triumphs, the unexpected connections that shape even the most seemingly fantastical places.
Yeah. Speaking of unexpected connections, I heard something about Disney World being twinned with Swindon, England. That sounds like a bizarre pairing.
You're telling me. It happened in 2009 after a young poet from Swindon won a competition with a poem about Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
It's a testament to the park's global reach and the power of art to connect seemingly different worlds.
Okay. So we've gone from secret land deals to environmental concerns to a surprising international twinning. I can't wait to see what other twists and turns this story takes.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the captivating history of Walt Disney World. Like last time, we left off with Disney World facing environmental pushback and forming some surprising international bonds, right?
Yeah, it's incredible how this story just keeps getting more and more layered. So what happens next?
Well, as we move into the 21st century, things get even more interesting. Remember those global events we hinted at? In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hits and the world as we knew it changed dramatically.
Right. And even a place like Disney World, built on fantasy and escape, wasn't immune to the very real impact of the pandemic. They were forced to close their gates for the first time in history, right?
It's right. A stark reminder that even a place dedicated to magic couldn't escape the realities of a global health crisis. The closure lasted for months, dealing a huge financial blow, not just to Disney, but to the entire tourism industry.
Yeah, it must have been surreal to see a place usually so bustling and full of life suddenly go quiet.
Absolutely. And the economic impact was significant. Disney had to lay off thousands of employees during this period. It was a harsh reality check for a company that employs so many people.
It's a reminder of how interconnected everything is. Global health, the economy, even the way we experience leisure and entertainment.
Exactly. The pandemic, it really threw everything into sharp relief. But even amidst this crisis, there were moments of innovation and resilience. Remember the NBA bubble?
Oh yeah.
Disney World actually hosted the end of the 2019-20 NBA season, providing a safe and controlled environment for the games to continue.
Right. It was almost surreal seeing NBA games played on Disney property.
Mm-hmm.
But it also showed how adaptable Disney is, right? How they were able to pivot and find creative solutions in the face of these unprecedented challenges.
Exactly. It was a testament to their ability to think outside the box and find ways to keep things moving forward.
Okay, so we've got a pandemic shutdown, massive economic ripples, and now we're adding professional basketball to the mix. This story just keeps getting wilder.
And it doesn't stop there. Fast forward to 2022, and Disney World finds itself embroiled in a political battle that made headlines across the country.
Ah, yes, the Reedy Creek drama. It was a pretty big deal. But to be honest, I'm still a little fuzzy on the details.
Well, for decades, Disney World had enjoyed a special self-governing status through the Reedy Creek Improvement District.
Okay.
This basically gave them control over their own land and infrastructure, allowing them to operate independently from many local regulations. Think of it as a mini government within the state of Florida.
Wow, so they were practically their own little city.
In some ways, yes. They had their own fire department, building codes, even their own power grid.
Yeah.
But this arrangement, which had been in place since the park's inception, came to an abrupt end in 2022.
And this is where Florida Governor Ron DeSantis enters the picture, right?
Exactly. DeSantis signed a law revoking Disney's special status. This move came after a very public disagreement between Disney and DeSantis over Florida's Parental Rights in Education Act, often referred to by critics as the Don't Say Gay bill.
Right. That bill was highly controversial. It limited classroom discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in schools, sparking a nationwide debate about education, parental rights, and free speech.
And when Disney publicly opposed the bill, it essentially set the stage for a political showdown with the governor. The revocation of Reedy Creek was seen by many as retaliation for Disney's stance on the bill.
So it wasn't just about Disney, having special privileges. It became this high stakes battle over corporate political influence and the role of businesses in social and political issues.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It became a flashpoint in a much larger debate about the boundaries between business and politics and whether corporations should use their influence to take a stand on controversial issues.
It's a fascinating and complex situation. So what are the long-term implications of all this? Did losing Reedy Creek actually change anything for Disney World?
It's still unfolding, but it's definitely a significant shift in the relationship between Disney and the state of Florida. The loss of Reedy Creek could potentially impact Disney's operations, increase their costs, and even affect their future plans in the state.
I guess it goes to show that even a company as powerful as Disney isn't above the fray when it comes to politics.
And it adds yet another layer of complexity to this already fascinating story.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, from pandemic closures to high stakes political battles. It's been quite a roller coaster ride. But before we dive into the final part of our deep dive, mm-hmm. I want to circle back to something a bit more whimsical, the origins of those iconic Disney characters.
Yes, those beloved figures that have captured the imaginations of generations. Our sources have some fascinating insights into their creation.
I'm all ears. Let's start with the main mouse himself, Mickey Mouse. I heard he almost had a very different name.
That's right. Walt's wife Lillian wasn't a fan of Mortimer Mouse and suggested the much catchier Mickey instead. Thankfully Walt listened to her.
Talk about a close call. I can't imagine Disney World with a Mortimer Mouse running around.
Right, and the story of Mickey's creation is almost as iconic as the character himself. Legend has it that Walt, he sketched out Mickey on a train ride back in 1928 after losing the rights to his previous character, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Wow, talk about turning a setback into an opportunity.
Yeah,
it's like the ultimate, like when one door closes, another one opens story.
Exactly, and Mickey's simple design, all circles and curves, made him perfect for early animation. His debut in Steamboat Willie, the first cartoon with synchronized sound, was a game changer for the industry.
Yeah, Mickey quickly became a global icon, appearing in countless shorts and inspiring a whole universe of merchandise. And of course we can't forget Minnie Mouse, his ever faithful companion.
Minnie, with her polka dot dress and charming personality, was created the same year as Mickey, and they've been a dynamic duo ever since. Their enduring appeal speaks to the power of creating characters that resonate with audiences across cultures and generations.
Speaking of iconic duos, we can't forget about Donald Duck. That voice, that temper, that sailor suit. He's one of a kind. What's his origin story?
Donald's creation is actually quite funny. Walt was reportedly inspired by the unique duck voice of Clarence Nash, who went on to become Donald's voice actor for decades. It's amazing how such a seemingly random element, a peculiar voice, can spark the creation of a beloved character.
It just goes to show that inspiration can come from the most unexpected places. And Donald's irascible personality, a stark contrast to Mickey's cheerful demeanor, added a new dimension to the Disney universe.
Yeah.
A touch of relatable grumpiness that I think a lot of us can identify with.
Absolutely. He's the one who gets frustrated, who loses his temper, who makes mistakes. He reminds us that it's okay to be perfectly imperfect.
I love that. And then there's Goofy, the lovable goofball whose clumsiness and infectious laugh never fail to entertain.
Goofy's journey is also pretty interesting. He was actually introduced as Dippy Dog back in 1932, but eventually evolved into the Goofy we know and love today. His creation was spearheaded by animator Art Babbitt, who wanted to create a character that was, well, goofy, a departure from the more polished personas of Mickey and Minnie.
And it worked brilliantly. Goofy became a fan favorite, starring in his own shorts and eventually getting his own feature film, a Goofy movie.
These characters, along with Pluto, Daisy Duck, and countless others, have become such integral parts of the Disney legacy, enriching the stories told in the parks and on screen. They've transcended their animated origins and become cultural touchstones.
It's amazing to think how much creativity and ingenuity went into crafting these characters that continue to delight audiences all these years later.
It really makes you appreciate the artistry, the attention to detail, and the sheer imagination that went into building this world, both the real and the imagined.
So we've journeyed through the history of Disney World from its swampy beginnings to its global prominence. We've seen how real world events have shaped its evolution, and we've delved into the fascinating origins of some of its most beloved characters. But the story doesn't end here, right?
Of course not. In our final segment, we'll step back and consider the broader implications of this deep dive. What does the history of Disney World tell us about ourselves, about American culture, about the power of storytelling and the enduring allure of the magical? Stay with us as we wrap up this captivating journey through the unexpected history of Walt Disney World.
Okay, we're back for the final part of our Disney World deep dive. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? I mean, we uncovered secret land deals, navigated a global pandemic, and even waded into some pretty heavy political controversy.
Yeah, and now it's time to step back, I think, and consider what it all means. What lessons can we glean from this wild ride through swamps and dreams and a whole lot of mouse ears, right?
Honestly, this whole deep dive has been really eye-opening for me. I thought it would be all sunshine and pixie dust, happily ever after. But it turns out the story of Disney World is way more complex than that. Mm-hmm. It reflects the magic, sure, but also the challenges and even the messiness of the real world.
It's like a microcosm almost of American culture itself. The ambition, the innovation, the entrepreneurial spirit, but also the growing pains, the environmental impact, the ever-present political undercurrents.
It really makes you realize that even a place designed to transport us to a world of fantasy can't fully escape the realities of the time.
And that's, I think, what makes it so fascinating. By understanding the history, the context, the forces that shape Disney World, we gain a deeper appreciation, I think, for what it represents.
Yeah. For me, it's like peeking behind the curtain a bit.
Yeah.
And seeing all the effort, the creativity, the problem solving that goes into creating this seemingly effortless experience.
Yeah. It also makes you think about the power of storytelling. Disney World is at its core a collection of stories brought to life through rides and attractions, characters, these incredibly immersive environments.
And those stories have such a profound impact on us.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they shape our childhoods, our memories, even our understanding of the world.
They tap into these universal themes, good versus evil, love, adventure, the triumph of the underdog, and they do it in a way that transcends age, language, and cultural barriers.
Well, it's no wonder Disney World has become such a global phenomenon, attracting millions of visitors from every corner of the planet.
It really is a testament to the enduring power of storytelling and the human need for escape, for wonder, for a touch of magic in our lives.
And yet, even with all its efforts to create this world apart, Disney World can't completely detach itself from the real world, can it?
You're right. The pandemic, the political controversies, the environmental concerns, they all serve as reminders that even the most carefully crafted fantasy is still subject to the forces of reality.
It's almost like those little cracks in the pavement, that remind you there's solid ground beneath those perfectly manicured lawns.
Exactly. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It adds a layer of depth of complexity that makes the experience, I think, even richer.
It also makes you wonder what Walt Disney himself would think of it all. The sprawling empire, the technological advancements, the global reach, and yes, the controversies.
It's hard to say, of course, but I imagine a part of him would be thrilled to see how his dream has grown and evolved. He was such a visionary and innovator, someone who always pushed boundaries and embraced new possibilities.
And yet he was also a pragmatist, a businessman who understood the importance of adapting to changing circumstances. I wonder what he would make of the metaverse, for example, and the potential for virtual experiences to reshape the entertainment landscape.
That's such a fascinating question. Perhaps Disney World will have a presence in the metaverse someday, offering, new ways to experience the magic.
Or maybe it will always have a special place in the physical world, a tangible reminder of the power of imagination and the enduring allure of a well-told story.
Whatever the future holds, I think one thing is certain, that the history of Disney World is a story worth knowing.
It's been an incredible journey, really, full of surprising twists and turns, triumphs and challenges, dreams realized and realities confronted.
And ultimately, I think it's a story that reflects our own human journey, our search for meaning, connection, and maybe just a little bit of magic along the way.
So as we reach the end of our deep dive here, we leave you with a final thought to ponder. What surprised you most about the history of Disney World?
And how does knowing this backstory change, or maybe even enhance your own experience of this iconic destination?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking out those hidden stories that reveal the magic in the mundane.
And remember, even in a world full of enchantment, there's always more to discover, more to learn, and more to wonder about.